Is it live? Nice.
Headset. There we go. Okay. But it still says it is not live. But I feel like it should be live. Let's see. No, I am not live. Okay. We're going to try this again. Why are you being a pain?
Software
Why?
using.
I'm using OBS and Restream. It should totally actually be working right now, but it is not. Oh, now it says we're live. Okay, great.
Are we
Jesus.
live?
Oh man, yes, we're live. I forgot because we were playing poker. I have like a 55-second delay on it, or a 1 minute delay, or something stupid like that. That would
So
completely
people can't
explain.
see you.
No, they can see me now. They're just seeing me 55 seconds ago, or a minute ago, or whatever.
Yeah, but that doesn't make sense in poker, right?
Well,
Like, what if you're still playing your hand in a minute?
yeah. No, I get it. I get it. Okay, let me. I'm not playing Repo because this is not Repo. I would love to be playing Repo.
Yeah, we can do that.
Oh, I have to log in. Why are you sending me things to my phone? Nobody wants you to send things to my phone. Okay. Remember this device. Okay, so need to update this to not repo. Talk shows and podcasts, I guess. Done. Okay, there we go. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to fix the Unbelievable thing that is flinging stuff out there. And let me go ahead and pull this up. Here we go. Hey guys, we're just getting some stuff going right now. Mediator.
Beautiful. Another person joined.
We'll get there. We'll get there. We definitely need to do this as a stage though, because otherwise it gets really messy. I'm gonna go ahead and
Yeah,
drop.
someone could just hop up on stage and say a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, no. Hey, you never know. Maybe it'll be fun. There we go.
That was the example.
Hey, well, you're welcome to. What stuff do you want to say, man?
No, not much. Just chilling. working on this stuff that I'm working on. But I do have a kind of a question later, like when you are accepting questions.
Dude, I'm accepting questions now. I can multitask on this shit. Let's go.
Oh, word. All right.
Yeah,
All right. So,
hit me with whatever you got. I've got this up.
all
I've
right.
got the chat thingy up. Smiling
All right.
Monster
So
says,
just
yes, I'm
for
live and have audio. So welcome aboard. Okay, go ahead. Sorry. Ask your question.
okay. Just for contextual purposes, so like, Datagram tracks uptime and
Yep,
other metrics of node operations on chain.
correct.
So it acts as like an insurance plan for node operators.
I wouldn't call it an insurance plan. It's the way I look at it. The way I look at it, it is uh, the primary uptime tracker for most of these node networks. Most node networks, unfortunately, these days, are still tracking all of their uptime just using a central database. And so what we do at Datagram is we've basically replaced that with actually having everything go directly to chain. So there's multiple check-ins a day where you're saying, yes, definitely, I am here. And then anytime resources are used, from the Datagram perspective, and we also are building into the tooling so that you can do this for other stuff too. There is basically a check-in where, I mean, if you're using like UDP, for example, that UDP will then, show up on chain as usage and will be attributed correctly to the correct node. So the right people will be making payments for services, the correct people will be receiving payments for services, and it creates this cool virtuous ecosystem where everything all gets tied together.
See. Okay. So the reason why I was inferring the insurance for node operators is because it's a immutable on-chain record of node operations in a check-in format. So it's different than, I don't know, for instance, managing your point system off-chain, because
Right,
that's entirely centralized. It's not on a public ledger, so people can't
correct.
verify that. So um, that's more of an add-on than like a primary feature. It's more of like a primary, like a sub function.
If you're using it that way, then yeah, you could use it that way. That's true.
Yeah, I think that's actually a great way to use it. I think if a node meets requirements and contributes towards Datagram's system,
Hmm.
then that would fill the requirements, and then the project coordinator or the people who are running the nodes, they would optionally be able to meet requirements in order to ensure that their node is tracked on chain immutably.
Yep. Yeah, that is.
Make sense? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely,
All right, I'm
absolutely.
just making sure I got like the right idea of all this.
No, no, no. You're good, man. You're good. I am trying to fix something really quick here. Where the hell does this shit show up? I'm trying to edit the bot so that things don't show up in the, all over the place. Maybe that's in the actual Discord that I have to do that. But just really quickly, a couple questions, or not really questions, statements that people said. Web3 Grinder from Ari Chain, locked in. BD Lee says, I have been living in pain for 4 years after investing 200 million won in Gala Games. Dude, I left Gala about a year ago, and I understand and feel your pain. I'm not going to talk about it too much because that's not what we're here for, but I get it. I get that it's frustrating. I understand all of that. I'm sorry that you're in that position, and yeah, I get it. 100%. And Severance, yes, we will be posting a recording later. Anyone have any questions? Or anything that you guys have seen or that people have questions about?
I think the the main thing is there's a lot of people, or like a few people that I've talked to about Datagram.
Hmm.
They don't fully understand kind of what I
Yes.
contextualized earlier.
Yes.
They don't really understand what the purpose is. It's
There's
hard to kind of pitch that. It's hard to frame that in a nice way for people.
yeah, there's it's not an easy thing, honestly, because one of the challenges that you have with well, people in general is they have a tendency to focus immediately on the first thing that they see. Okay, I was having a conversation earlier today in the LFG Discord that kind of followed along these lines, where it's like, look, people don't quite understand what Datagram is or what it does. When I asked people in the chat earlier yesterday, they basically said, a variety of different things like, oh, it has the ability to do real time communications, or oh, it has, uh, it's allows people to have more secure messaging, or oh, it's about running nodes. It's not really any of those things. Um, Datagram is the best way that I can say it is that Datagram is a cloud services provider, where instead of having your cloud services, be provided by Amazon, they're instead provided by the entire network. And thanks to Dr. Williams' work in this area, there's really very robust parallel compute and distributed computing attached to all of that. And so it makes it possible to do this in a way that has never really been done previously, and that's something that really matters to me, because I think that if you were to go back 10 years and try to build a really really badass edge compute network, you really wouldn't have been able to, because bandwidth was too expensive, hardware was too expensive, and things just weren't at a point where it was ready. But what Datagram has done is it's tapping into all of these latent resources spread throughout the entire network and serving them up in a way that isn't, and this is, stick with me for a second when I say this, isn't straight up, we're doing this a Web3 way. If you look at, a lot of, Web3 sort of storage solutions is a good example. It's clunky as hell to try to use. Anyone who's ever tried to put something up on Arweave realizes, like, this is not going to be a thing that the masses, quote unquote, are going to pick up. But with Datagram, what we have is this ability to essentially work with Web 2 companies. Okay, there's an interface with those Web 2 companies that allows them to do the Web 2 stuff that they need to do using decentralized Web 3 infra. And this is one of the things that I'm, very proud of with this, is that you've got, 1.2 million people that have gone through this and have touched this ecosystem, and have used those resources without realizing that they're decentralized and distributed. And that's really freaking cool. 1.2 million users. None of them have any idea that they're using decentralized infra, and that's important.
Why is it
Yeah,
important?
that's something that's missing across the whole industry.
And Chris asked, why is it important? It's important because right now in Web3 in general, we have still not gotten to a point where we have massive adoption. We're at a point where we're still building these craptastic little things for a few thousand people. You look at the top Web3 games today, and it's some of them have decent player counts, but most of them not really. You look at these massive services, these DePIN networks, where people have, these huge networks that have been deployed of GPUs and all of this stuff, and they don't have any customers. They have a few sort of announcements and stuff, but nobody's actually using their stuff. And if nobody's using their stuff, there's no way that they can have an economy that actually works. And with Datagram, we have it. We have people using things. We have stuff going on. We have, traffic across the system. And it's especially as the alpha testnet program, which I don't think I'm allowed to talk about yet, kicks on, then, that's going to be really, really cool for people to be able to see and use. And, the other thing that is really important to me is that, if you go to the demo.datagram.network and use it, you're actually using stuff, that actually works, that actually runs across the nodes, which is massively important. So welcome
That's
those who are
awesome.
listening. Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. I'm super proud of it. Like, I love what we're doing. This is what I've wanted to do for a very long time.
Yeah. So you mentioned earlier, similar to like AWS, in certain ways,
Hmm.
um, as like a cloud provider.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, are you gonna, do you guys have plans for creating software as like a services hub, like a
Yes.
Datagram services hub?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. No, we know that in order to make this work, we have to be able to be a solution that can compete with the sort of best in class in terms of Web 2 solutions. Because that's what businesses need. And that's where you're going to get users. You're not going to get users from serving, a relatively small Web3 audience. You need to serve companies that serve massive Web2 audiences. And whether those Web2 audiences know that they're dealing with a Web3 platform or not is really irrelevant. It doesn't matter. Um, you know, yeah, it's a lot that has to be done because, Web3 just isn't big enough. Web2 is where everything is going to come from. Mediator asks a question in the Discord here. It says, considering growth and expansion, what plans does the project team have in terms of partnerships with like-minded projects? And is there a roadmap already in place that you are following? Yes, there is. There is a roadmap in place that we are following. There is a lot of different partnerships that are moving forward across a lot of DeepIn, honestly, because ultimately with the sorry, I'm watching Gingerbread Man gamble here. It's distracting me. Um, there's a lot of these DeepIn projects need what we provide. We provide a really strong way for these DeepIn projects to increase their abilities in terms of running their own DeepIns and making stuff transparent and putting things on chain. So the Datagram core substrate is a thing that we're leaning into with a lot of these projects, and you're going to see more in that way. And in terms of a roadmap, there will likely be a roadmap released, a public roadmap released pretty soon. But the next couple things that you're going to see is the alpha testnet go live along with the dashboard for basically your airdrop points, and where you'll be able to track referrals and all of these things. You'll see a node sale come online here before too terribly long, and then you will see a TGE. And one of the things that's really important about this is that in terms of TGEs, it's not going to be one of those things that gets indefinitely pushed out, forever and ever and ever. We're going to market with this, and we do have a pretty substantial list of backers, both in terms of investors who have come into the projects, and other ecosystem partners that will be important, exchanges and market makers and whatnot. So, we're ready to do this, and we're ready to make it awesome. Why does Web3 need an AWS killer like Datagram, asks Kyle Purple Heart. So the way that I look at this is AWS isn't bad. Okay, they provide a service, they do something that is necessary, but in my mind, they're also more centralized. And when I say more centralized, they're totally centralized, and so that presents certain risks and things like that. It's very important to have, as Gingerbread Man says, a scalable public infra. Yes, that's what we need here, because ultimately, at the end of the day, if AWS can like arbitrarily turn off an account, or actually, here I have a great example of this. Pretty badly, I got pretty badly hacked a few weeks back, and one of the things that they got into is an old AWS account. Okay, and they got into the old AWS account. They turned on multi-factor authentication, which I didn't have on because I didn't even use the account for anything. Unfortunately, it was still connected to my billing. And so they got in and they started deploying a bunch of GPU instances. What they were doing, I don't know. It took me frickin' weeks, like literally 2.5 weeks, to get them to say like, well, yep, we recognize this wasn't you that did this, so let's see if we can remove MFA so that you can actually get back in, to your account. Total nightmare, man. And with decentralized infra, if you're not feeding into it, that doesn't even happen. There's no way for that to happen unless I, had a pile of tokens that were also in that account that were paying for services. It would just not have happened. GoDaddy's world famous support. I mean, the weird thing though is the support thing is interesting. That's an interesting question because, what you have with Web3, okay, is famously difficult for the average human being to like understand and manage, because you're completely on your own. If you lose your keys, you're completely hosed. Um, and that's really a problem. What Datagram offers here is the ability for Web3 companies to come along, use Datagram resources, use Datagram infrastructure, and offer services to Web2 companies. So let's say you're a Web3, web developer. Okay, you can come along, you can use Datagram resources, you can use Datagram storage, you can use Datagram compute and all of that stuff, and offer this directly to your customers who may be Web2 customers. You have the ability to take a savings, okay, on AWS. You give them a slight upcharge over what you're paying, so you have a margin that's built in, and you go from there with it. And ultimately, at the end of the day, you take a company like Amazon, right? Amazon wasn't successful because, Jeff Bezos sold books. Amazon was successful because Jeff Bezos built a platform that allowed everybody to sell everything, and he took a piece of it. We've created a platform that allows everybody to basically resale and monetize what we've created to bring more people in. And to deal with the next question, Kyle also asks, are there reasons for Web2 customers to care about Datagram? Some of them, sure, if they're working directly with us. But to be honest, if you open an app on your phone, you open Uber, right? Do you care that they're using AWS? No, you don't care. You just care that it works. As long as it works, you're fine. And ultimately, that's what this boils down to. They need things to actually function, and as long as they function, then everything's good, and they don't care. If they stop functioning, then that's where things get ugly. Kyle says, so Datagram is B to B to B to C. I call it the way that I describe it usually when I talk about it, is we have a protocol to business to consumer pipeline. And so basically what that is we're a protocol. We work with businesses. That's our main area of focus. Hefe Sailor was in here earlier, or in the LFG Discord earlier, and he said that he can run a game server by himself. And I'm like, great, that's not our target market. Our target market isn't a single person running a game server. Our target market is, a business who's, running thousands of things, and helping thousands of things move forward. Oh man, Gingerbread Man just completely lost. That's tragic. I'm sorry, Gingerbread Man. But yeah, so it's a protocol to business to consumer pipeline. that's the plan. Let's see. What other questions do we have? I really wish I could get this unbelievable thing working correctly because it's kind of a pain. All of you guys watching the thing on the left hand side here, this is the Datagram server, and we have, which I invite everyone to come and join, by the way. We have a airdrop point system that allows people to come in and work, and here, this is what it looks like.
It's super fun.
You
I
can
love
work, and you get a little, you know, spicy package back. You get some points. You can go along and you know, you can actually. What's my balance? I want to see what my balance is. Oh, look
You
at
gonna commit
that!
crime?
I got to. Yeah, I am. I'm gonna see if I can. I'm gonna crime. Let's do that. There we go.
Oh,
Oh,
slammed.
snap! So I'm going to be negative in the cash. There you go. But the cool thing is these are actually airdrop points. So if you do bank these up, they will matter in the future. Dark Magic says crime doesn't pay. Agreed. Gingerbread Man disagrees. I don't know about you, Gingerbread Man. What was she thinking? This whole marriage thing. I don't know, man. Kyle asks, what do you think the greatest misconceptions about Datagram that the public holds? I think people look at it, and because of the way that it was sort of initially put forward, it's like, look, we have this you know, decentralized RTC. You know, you can have calls, you know, that run across nodes. People look at it and say, oh, it's Zoom, and it's not. Like, you can do that on it, but it's way, 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 way more than that. You know, so the things that I wish people were asking is I wish people would get a little bit more into the tokenomics, into the way that the nodes actually function. You know, I mean, if you go to you know, demo.datagram.network, you know, you can actually try this stuff, and you can do a live call. You can use you know, decentralized AI inference. We have like the V0 of that up right now that you can play with. Excuse me. And if you do that, everything that you're doing, like all of that usage, is actually showing up on chain, and that's a really cool thing. I'm getting traumatized by watching this GIF over and over again, man. It's like it's rough. We need the party zebra. Party zebra will make it all better. There we go. Now I'm distracted by party zebra. Any other questions that you guys have? Let me see if there's anything coming up. Nah, no. BD Lee still says, you know, this is still got his previous complaints, which I do understand. You know, it's not a fun thing, man. Like, it's not fun, and I keep getting asked about things related to that ecosystem a lot. Big conversation in LFG about that today. I wish them the best. I hope that they, you know, sort things out in a way that works best for the node operators, because that's what I always see as the core to all of this. You know, it's about the node operators. You have to take care of them. So we'll see what happens. Any questions? Come on, we got some people here in voice. Who is in voice? I wanna see. Is there a chat open in the voice thingy? No.
Dark Magic is not muted.
Dark Magic is on his phone. What strange things will we hear? Oh, we got Exhale here. How you doing, Exhale? Just probably sitting at work, or you know, painting a deck or something like that. AB, Dazzy's here. I will get back to you, Dazzy, on a bunch of stuff. In fact, I think Cardophilius is talking to you about a bunch of it. You know, he has
We got a question.
We have a question. He has my proxy.
We have another question.
Let's go.
Yeah, it's about the ambassador program.
Okay, let me get. Oh, What are your plans for growing the Datagram community? Could we see the ambassador program rolling up in the near future? Yes, there is an ambassador program right now. It is live right now. There is an application which Cardophilius will hopefully be kind enough to drop in the chat for me. And so, that's growing. But we're also going to be doing a lot of stuff with other communities. You know, and so you're gonna see a lot of sort of acquisition in terms of communities as we bring a few different things together. Interesting numbers related to the project. Node numbers, pricing, tiered pricing. Okay, so, oh man, if I do this, I might get myself in trouble.
Yeah, you 100% will get in trouble.
I will 100% get in trouble.
Do it.
It's no fun without.
Just turn off the recording. Turn off the recording and then do it.
it's no fun without. It's no fun without leaks. We need leaks.
It wouldn't be a leak if people knew about it.
That's a fair point. That is a fair point. I do believe you may have convinced me. So the way that
good for you, man.
the way that this works. Okay, let me discuss the system a little bit and what role nodes serve in the system. Okay. For starters, the first thing is that nodes do stuff. Okay, so these are actual node licenses that when you run them, they will handle data, they will handle compute, they will handle routing, they will definitely actually do stuff that is, important to the ecosystem. These are not heartbeat machines. Okay, so I do not recommend that you deploy a pile of these on $5 VPSs because these are designed specifically to be run in a massively distributed fashion. Okay, so it will likely work out for you better in the long run if you're running your node on a home computer. Okay, or something in your house. There's a few. We're actually talking to a couple. Actually, one of them is a significant investor in the project about creating actual hardware units that people can have if they want. And I'd also love to talk to Nate over at Deep, and getting them on board with this. But the idea is this is not something that ideally would be deployed on AWS. Because please, guys, really, so there's that. The second thing is that they do handle routing, they do handle traffic, they do handle all of this, and initially at deployment, they receive a significant uptime reward that basically is the daily emission. Okay, it's a pretty robust emission system, and running nodes early, obviously, as you guys have seen in the past, is very much a good thing. And so, sorry, distracted by GIFs again. And so in the long run, running your node, receiving that part of the emission, and then also there's a percentage of the emissions that is tied to actual usage. So if people are using using UDP, using AI, all of that. Hot mic somewhere there, then they'll actually benefit from that. Who is that? That is on there. No, I don't cancel. Don't do that. Who was that? I heard a hot mic. I don't know who it was.
Yeah, I could swear.
It was Loco J.
Loco J.
But it was
Okay.
a mistake. I mean, he's muted now. He's
okay.
fine.
Bro, I had to find out.
No worries, man. Do you have a question? Feel free to ask a question. If you guys have a question, jump on in. Or you can ask it in chat and I'll read it. Will the units look like the nodes on the website? Those are graphically super attractive units. I'd like them to look something like that, but they're probably not going to be things with streamy lights that go back and forth connecting them, because, I mean, There's a limit.
That's not a far off design though, from a realistic design.
No, it could be done. It definitely could be done. I'd like to see something like that happen. But the other cool thing about this is these nodes actually can run on ARM architecture, so you can put them on all sorts of crap that you can't run other types of nodes on. So you want to run one on your car, cool. You want to run one on your smart fridge, knock yourself out. One of the other things that we're looking at is doing routers. Or range extenders for networks that people can basically just plug in and have those have a node directly on them. Will new nodes immediately tap into the existing network that is currently operating? Yes. Yeah, my support ticket experience was rough. Okay, let's see. So I think that the node numbers, I feel like I want to give some of this information, man. I'm gonna get in trouble. Epoxy resin of the orange detailing. I like that. Let's do it. I feel like glitter needs to be involved. Does this sound correct, Gingerbread Man? Is this a glitter situation?
Glitter can definitely be involved. Yeah,
this feels like a glitter situation.
We could also line it with fairy lights.
I mean, we could do that. We could do that. I mean, I'm
put a whole
down.
Pattern glow into
I would
it,
love
like
to. I would love to have a community competition that is essentially design the best node enclosure. I think we should do that. Chris, put that on the list.
Would you say that again? What am I putting on what list?
The list of awesome things we're going to do, obviously. Designing the best node enclosure. So
For the physical node.
For a physical node, yeah.
Like a 3D case, like a case.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, we can definitely do that.
Yeah, I think that would be.
I know Western Monk would hop on that. He'd be all over that.
Dude, some of these people in the communities are just so freaking amazing, and yeah. I really like that I have Wolfenite. Wolfenite made some of the coolest shit ever, like way like back 2021. Some stuff for Mirandus, and I was trying so hard to get it to become something that would get adopted, but I just couldn't get the people internally to do it. But shit, man, the stuff he made was so cool. Massive shout out to Wolfenite.
Cooler than the stuff that I make? Wow.
No, dude, he made like these. I don't know exactly how he did it, but it was like these folded steel like rods that had like the Gala logo. If you were to like, you know how they make candy where they like stretch it out and it has like a little picture inside it? He did that with metal with the Gala logo. It was crazy. Like, it was so cool. So Datagram has a cool logo, Wolfenite. Just throwing that out there. What other questions does anyone have?
No questions right now. At least not from my side.
Not from your side?
No, but hopefully someone types into the chat and we can.
I see Sabrina and Kyle are typing. Let's see what happens. Nothing coming over. And guys, if you're watching this on Twitter or on Twitch or wherever you're watching it, please feel free to throw in comments. I think there's only one person watching on Twitch. That's awesome. I wonder who they are. Shout out to the person watching on Twitch. In fact, person watching on Twitch, drop a message and I'll get you something cool. Yeah, Datagram Candy, I like that. More of a comment than a question, but I'll get behind it. Okay. Let's see here. Oh. And also shout out to the people watching on Twitter, or X, as it were. Man, I'm getting just like the most ridiculous spam, scammy posts on my X messages these days. Like I know Elon was supposed to get rid of the bots, but they're still here, unfortunately. They're definitely
If
still
anything,
here.
if anything, he just tamed them. He got rid of them and then replaced them.
I don't. It's the dumbest message. Like I don't know who would ever go with like the Miss So and So is the best trader ever. She has taught me to. She has taught me to trade so that I get all the monies, and I love monies. So please follow her.
Oh yeah, I remember Miss so and so. She taught me how to trade, so I
She
can get
did.
all the
Yeah,
monies.
that's how you have. That's why you have all the monies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
All the
that's it.
monies are from Miss so and so who taught me how to trade on Twitter.
That's it.
Yeah, he's actually retired. He does this for fun.
Yeah, absolutely. No, for sure. Mike, by the way, from Flip It, just sent me a message. He is watching. So Mike, hop in the hop in the Discord and you can talk to your community a bit here. What the hell's going on? I'm minimizing and maximizing things too much. Any plans to tour Europe? I don't want to go to Europe most of the time. Yes, I should go to Europe. Most of the things that I have to do, I've got. I'm going to be doing like a road show sort of thing in China here, then Korea, then Manila, I think. I don't know if Europe wants me to go to Europe. I don't know, man. Although I need to. I need to
What's
go.
wrong with you?
I don't know. I don't know. It's just
I mean, you've been around the whole planet.
I
You've been to
have.
Europe plenty of times. What's up with Europe?
It's I don't speak the languages because I'm a stupid American. So I speak American is my number one language, and Thai is my second language. And when I know you speak English, but I feel like such a dumbass speaking English. It's terrible. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I should know and be able to converse more fluently in more languages. It bothers me. Um,
Is
um,
that really the reason?
it actually it kind of is. I'm not gonna lie.
You know, if
Um,
you if you're ever in that situation, you feel uncomfortable, you should just call your wife and start speaking some Thai words.
I could do that. I could do that. Although she would make fun of me. I never speak Thai to her
And then
because
everyone
she says
and then
my Thai
everyone
is
looked like
terrible too.
uh, but everyone looked like you, like, damn, this American is so smart. Speaking
No,
all this Thai.
no one thinks that. No, that's not a thing.
No, I
Although
know, I know.
I have had a couple situations where speaking Thai has been, super hilarious. Like once I was in the airport and I'm walking and there's these Thai people that are walking behind me, and obviously, do I look like I speak Thai? Um, and they're walking, and basically, what they said, the gist of it was, oh, we have a bunch of time here. What should we do? I don't know. Let's just follow this fat guy. And I turned around and was like, turn cup, like, come on, let's go. And they're like, oh shit, like, oh man, it was great.
Oh my
Um,
God, that's hysterical.
it's good times. Drink your OJ. I set up my demo node last night and know essentially nothing. You set up your demo node. Congratulations, you are now part of the unannounced alpha testnet. So that's a good thing. Keep that running. Basically, your node is now contributing and routing traffic across the entire network. Depending on where you are, there may or may not be actual traffic that needs to go to that area. I don't actually know where you're located. I feel like drink your OJ. I feel like you're in like Miami or something like that. I don't know. Um, but yeah, so you are contributing. You are stacking up points for the airdrop that is going to happen. So that's a good thing. And yeah, if you go ahead and actually initiated some services on the network, you would be initiating them on your own machine, which is pretty cool. And if you were to be using this for communications, every connection to and from you for the real-time communication would essentially be like a one-way VPN, or not one-way, but a one-time usage VPN tunnel. So that's a cool thing. So hooray for security and decentralization and all of that. So there's going to be a lot more stuff coming online here pretty soon. Did you turn on the AI inference part? I hope so. That would be cool. Let's see here. And drink your OJ. You came in late, so the way that I'll basically describe this is, Datagram is essentially a cloud services provider. It's a decentralized AWS competitor that does a bunch of really cool stuff, and it has nodes that do things. And I'm a fan of nodes that do things.
Can I highlight a strength? Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, so I see Datagram as being strong in tracking node uptime,
Yeah.
especially, and node resources, so that you can properly reward or distribute to your node
To your
operators
network,
that
yeah.
use Datagram properly.
And the cool thing about that too is so let's say you've got a project built on the Datagram core substrate, right? So what that does is initially, if you were to stand up your own deep end network, it's not an easy thing to do, and the way that most people do it is frankly pretty bullshit. So you have that network, okay, and the only people that you can talk to are the other people in that network. By becoming part of the Datagram core substrate, you now make your entire network more efficient, okay, because now when you route data between your nodes, you're not just running through your nodes, you're running through the entire Datagram core substrate, which means that everyone that's built on top of Datagram, all the other deep end networks, all of everything, all feeding into that, which is just like monumentally huge and can be a huge increase in long-term sustainability and efficiency. Drink Your OJ says, I inadvertently streamed myself sleeping when the demo was up. I didn't think you earned anything from it though. You wouldn't be earning from usage. When you use it, you're essentially, it's a paid service, right? But having the node up means that you can route traffic through your node, and then your node would get rewarded for somebody else doing that. And you're in Michigan. I wish I were in Michigan. I wish and wish and wish again. I don't remember where I heard that, but that's always
over in Michigan.
It's been stuck in my head forever. I don't know why. Let's see. Going over to here really quick. Okay. Mike says that there's stuff happening with Flip It. So, I'm not gonna say any more than that or give any more details because it's gonna be up to him. But there is stuff happening there, and I talked to Neil from Rep the other day as well. So there's stuff happening there as well. I know Rep isn't a LFG project, but yeah, I like what he's building. Okay, what else? Got about 10 more minutes if anyone has any other questions. Anyone? Let me see what's going on. Across all of the things. Montana. Cheese caves in Montana. Well, that sounds great. Any big milestones coming up? Yeah, the biggest milestone that's coming up shortly is the alpha testnet launch, the official alpha testnet launch. You guys are gonna love the video that comes along with that because it's really cool. It's got this nice retro gaming vibe to it, which I think people are gonna dig. After that, the node sales are gonna kick off, and this is something that's really, really important. Okay. A lot of people don't know how well the gala node sale was for people who participated in it, because a lot of people joined the ecosystem later and things like that. But if I remember correctly, the number on chain was something like $870 million in primary market revenue, most of which Gala burned, to be clear. But that was a thing. and that was at the moment. Obviously tokens fluctuate up, down, all of that things. But one of the things that we're doing is we've learned a bit from the way that went, and we've learned a bit from sort of the way that I personally look at a lot of this stuff. I had a little bit of a reputation. I was the Mr. Give it away for free guy, and so yeah, that's kind of the way that we're building a lot of this out. Is I believe that the way that you build a strong ecosystem is you make sure that everybody in that ecosystem is rewarded. Everybody in that ecosystem gets something. Everybody in that ecosystem has a stake, and gets to walk away with something. And so, with this, the way that the node sale is going to work is it is a very aggressively set up system that will allow people to benefit when they bring other people on. And it's built into the actual tokenomics. It's not kind of like a stapled on-site thing, off to the side. If you bring people on board, the nodes receive their percentage of the distribution. That does not change. When people run a node that you've referred, you receive an additional portion of the distribution that does not come from the node, sort of side of the distribution. It comes from a specific pool dedicated specifically for that. And then also you will receive a chunk of whatever it is that the people pay with. So if they pay with, USDT or whatever, then you would automatically receive a piece of that. Nodes are they have a set price structure to them, which I don't want to get out there because I don't want to say it and then find out I'm somewhat wrong or something. But it has predetermined sort of built-in steps and things like that. Node prices will probably top out, I would imagine, at I want to say probably under $15,000 is the top end, with all of the nodes being sold. Because I don't want this to be a situation where the last thing that I want is for somebody to buy a node and then feel shitty about buying a node because what they receive in terms of emissions from the network is not high enough to make up for the price of the node that they purchase. So if you buy a node that's really, really, really expensive and you realize you'll never make that back, that's a terrible feeling, and I don't want that for anybody. So that's a really, really important thing. Because to me, if we don't all win, okay, if we don't all win, then none of us win. Having a system where people are angry and pissed off and feel exploited is terrible for everybody, and I don't want that for anybody. So that's a key philosophical sort of stand that I'm taking. Let's see here. Just finishing this out. Any other questions that people have? Ooh, what kind of Datagram merch can we look forward to? Hey, Chris, do you want to drop a couple of those things in the chat?
Oh yeah. Datagram merch. We starting with T-shirts. We had little notes. Well, no, it's not called note. Those little books that you can write notes into. Organizers. We had cups over in Taipei.
Yeah, we had a bunch of cool stuff. But
looking
drop the
like
shirt
this.
design. Shirt design.
Let me just whip out the shirt design. Stop pressuring me. I'm not shy.
Yeah, no.
Oh, one second.
What is this? What is your favorite color? That's a great movie.
I won't tell you. I won't tell you. I'm not telling anyone. Okay, let me find the general chat, and here is our expected design number 1 for our new Datagram merchandise.
Boom.
Of course, one of those beauties will be shipped to our ambassadors.
Look at that.
So you guys, it's beautiful, right?
It's beautiful.
Then there's also stuff like this coming up. Then there's also little details that we're thinking about for our merchandise to extend. We just don't could just have printed T-shirts, but there's also cool things that you can do, like this, for example.
Right.
So you actually have like a good piece of clothing with you. So yeah, we're working on it. There's going to be very, very, very cool merchandise.
I'm stoked about the direction that all of this is going. Merch, I think, is a really important thing. I wanted for a long time to set up some merch stuff, and you know, we yeah, this I think is going to be great. Okay, what other questions do people have? Anything? I'm looking to see if anything came over from the Twitter
Yes, Kyle,
crowd.
you will get hats, stickers, patches. You will even
I'm a fan of
get the
patches.
custom-made, beautiful Datagram Gruyere cheese, so you can finally enjoy good cheese.
Uh,
Um,
it's the anti-bot detecting cheese.
exactly that cheese. Well, yeah, I mean, we can do a lot of stuff. Patches and stickers and all of that stuff is really low lift, so we can get
Yeah.
that done really quickly.
And
But yeah, the
those of
merchandise
you
is
who oh man, my keychain's all the way over there. Those of you who well, hold on. I'm just gonna slide out of this for a second. I'll be right back.
okay. He slid out of this for a second. So yeah, merchandise. We can do a lot of stuff, and I'm very happy to get a lot of merchandise going for you guys. So whenever one of the ambassadors wants to get a piece of merchandise sent over, just drop me a DM with your address, and whenever we get our merch in, we can start shipping it out to you guys.
So those
That's
who
really the thing.
followed along with the gala side of stuff know that I have these like totally badass keychains made. I'm getting these badass titanium keychains made for Datagram as well. So that's going to be pretty cool. But those are not going to be available. You can't like get those shipped to you. Those have to be a you run into me in person and see me at an event thing. So, but Datagram.
What do you think shipping's gonna be like? Because if it's like I don't know, gala, it could be the difference of 7-8 days or 7-8 months.
Well,
Um,
no, okay. So if I handle the shipping, it's actually happening whenever I get the stuff, right? Okay, I'm not gonna ship it with DHL priority or something like that crazy
Yeah,
$150
no, no.
to your neighboring country.
yeah.
So
No, as
it's
long as
going to
it's
be
similar to
courtesy of
AliExpress,
airmail.
I'm fine with it.
No,
Well, AliExpress can take like up to 6 months, so you're very
Well,
tolerating
I
there.
mean, I've never had that long, not to America at least. Like 28 days usually.
Oh, yeah.
well, hopefully we can.
But
I'd like to do a little better than that, honestly.
yeah, that's cool. That's
In
cool. I was mostly making a joke and a slide at Gal a little bit.
so the way that I like to do merch is if it's U.S. based for those who are based in the U.S. Um, which would be U.S. based. That was an entirely redundant sentence. I apologize. It's 10 p.m. now. I like to use fulfillment by Amazon, weirdly, because you can just ship everything into them, and then you just go into their system and say, like, deliver this, deliver this, deliver this. And you pay a little bit for that service, but then it just all gets handled, and you don't have to deal with it, and people get stuff in like 72 hours. I've done that in the past. That worked really well. So we'll probably do something similar to that. And then there's other shipping companies that are used for a few things that we can do. We want it to be a good experience though, because if it's not a good experience, what's the point? So yeah, I think anyone have any last questions before we button it up for tonight? Anything? No. Kyle is typing. What do you got, Kyle? Oh shit. If I was a superhero, what would the name of my nemesis be? Oh man. That's a good question. I have no freaking idea. I don't know. That's I don't like no patience man I guess would be my nemesis. Something like that. Like, I like things to be done correctly, and I don't like being pushed. So probably something like that. But I don't know. That's a lame answer. I'll think about that. I'll think about that. Anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for tonight. I'm going to go ahead and push this end stream button and hope that everything doesn't explode because of the weird delay thing that we've got on there. But anyway, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you all for joining, and keep following us at Dgram Network on Twitter, and join our Discord, and go to datagram.network and check out what we got going on. And we'll see you guys later.